Fala, galera! Olha eu de volta aqui, ó. Vox Luminis, esse podcast que parece Cometa Halley, né? Depois de tanto tempo a gente aparece, eu e meu parceiro aqui, Matt, cofundador da Pingback. A gente acaba escolhendo fazer poucos para fazer os melhores, né? Então, primeiro, muito obrigado pela audiência aí. Todas as vezes que eu solto um Vox, eu sempre me levo aí pro primeiro, segundo lugar do Spotify. Então, obrigado pelo carinho. Eu acabo fazendo pouco mesmo, porque tem pouca gente muito interessante no mundo, principalmente pouca gente muito interessante no Brasil, que eu tenho acesso pelo menos. Então essas poucas pessoas que são muito interessantes e que eu já conversei, eu escolho gravar com elas e trazer para vocês aqui algo diferente, não algo normal, né? Aquelas perguntinhas bullshiteiras de podcast que vocês ouvem em qualquer podcast desse aí. Então aqui é o papo de, cara, um líder de negócio com outros líderes e para tentar extrair o máximo possível de valor para vocês. E hoje a gente tem conosco aqui, cara, o homem que matou Bin Laden. Esse cara, Robert O'Neill, né, teve ali no Navy SEALs, né, por quase 20 anos. Foi Team 6, né, que é tipo o BOP do Navy SEAL, sabe? Então o cara é o grupo especial ali dentro do Navy SEALs e fez missões incríveis. Eu descobri hoje no almoço, inclusive, que ele participou do resgate do Captain Phillips, sabe? Aquele navio da Somália.
Tem um filme, inclusive, tem um filme da Apple, né, quem quiser procurar aí, com Tom Hanks, que conta essa história.
Exato. Ele participou daquela missão, que foi uma missão histórica, participou da missão ali de matar o Bin Laden, e a gente vai contar para vocês um pouco dos detalhes dessa missão também. Mas mais importante é porque nós que somos líderes de negócio, né, todos nós entendemos que a gente tem esse dever de construir um time muito forte e principalmente tomar grandes decisões em um curto espaço de tempo, e decisões essas que são decisões de vida ou morte para o nosso negócio. Então ninguém mais, ninguém menos do que o senhor Robert O'Neill aqui para poder dizer, cara, como que ele, um líder de um grupo especial dentro de um grupo especial, forma a tua tropa, toma decisão e consegue pegar talvez uma das principais missões do século, né, que era a captura e morte do Bin Laden, ter executado isso. O que se passa na cabeça de um líder com uma missão como essa e tentar traduzir isso para a sua realidade, que é líder de negócio. So, Mr. Robert, it's a pleasure to have you here in Brazil. Is this your first time here, right?
This is my first time, and I really appreciate it. We've only been here a few hours, and it's been amazing. Everything from the conversation to the incredible barbecue.
Yeah. We ate a lot, right?
Yeah.
Which one is harder? Is to have that much food or go to, hunt Bin Laden?
I think having that much food is harder because when I thought I was finished, they brought out the dessert.
Yeah.
And they just, I didn't, it was papaya and ice cream and something. They just kept pouring things into a glass and said, mix it, eat it, and shut up. And it was just.
But did you like it?
Love, yeah. I wish I had a straw. I would have had it like a soda.
Okay. You know what? I gotta go straight ahead to the question that everyone is making. So you say that you killed Bin Laden. Mm-hmm. What about the pictures?
The pictures are in a file cabinet at CIA, and I don't think it's even locked. I was talking to my friend who's a congressman, Mike McCall, from Texas, and he was the head of the chairman of the Intel Committee, and he and I over dinner, he said, yeah, they're just there. It's almost like nobody cares. They're just there, and I think it's because when someone really needs to get reelected, they might show people, but they never have. If you do see them, you'll recognize I had green gloves that are cut off. It's my hands holding his head together. Okay. After I shot him 3 times, we did the picture, and I had to hold this. I was dumping water on his face, holding his head, and that was it. I don't know if other people got pictures. That was on target. Okay. When we got back, the professional photographer was there. I was standing right next to them there too. Not at Jalalabad, but at Bagram Airfield. As we were listening to the president talk to the world, they were taking Bin Laden's pictures and doing DNA. So it's real. He was there. He's dead. I don't know why they didn't show anybody, but that's it.
But you did, right?
I figured that, like everything else, just trust the government, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree. Trust the government. I trust in you.
Well, thank you.
Though, because I can see truth on this. And I heard many podcasts of you talking about the case, and I don't want to go through the specifics of these, but I want to just give our audience a little bit of context. So, as long as I know, you shot 3 times in his face, right?
Yes.
And you were using like a 5.56?
5.56,
so you basically you cut his face in half.
I hit him about the middle of the nose, so his head was split from the nose up. Shit. And it was just
super cool.
It split open. It was one of those things too where because after I shot him, his tongue was sticking out. I could hear him exhaling, and you can see steam and brains, and it's even in the moment, it's a lot of people don't need to know what justice served looks like. It just was served, and that might have been it. I wish they'd show it to people now just to stop the conspiracy theory. And when people say, well, it was a body double, I say, well, I killed someone who was in bed with Osama Bin Laden's wife, so either way, he had it coming. someone's going to shoot this dude.
It was a matter of time, right?
Yeah, I just happened to get there first.
Yeah, I heard you say that as well, that when you kill him, he was with his kid, like 7 years old kid, right?
2 years old. His name was Hussein. 2 years old. And when I first came into the room, Amal Bin Laden was in front of him. That was his wife. And and she was short, he was tall. I was closer to Bin Laden than I am to you right now. Very easy shot. But when he went down, I was moving Amal because I was initially the only guy in the room. And I knew other SEALs were coming in. And no matter what, we're the good guys. So I'm trying to get Amal out of the way because other SEALs are going to come in. And that's when I looked down and saw his son standing there. And as a father, I've got daughters. As a father, I looked down and my thought was, this kid has nothing to do with this. Almost like, why are we all doing this to each other? This kid. So I moved him as well. And then it's
after the shot, right?
After I shot him, yeah. I was moving the kid. I put him on the bed, and then it sort of hit me. Before I went over to take the pictures, one of my guys came up to me and he goes, "Hey, you good?" And I said, "Yeah, what are we supposed to do now?" And he said, "Now we find the computers. We do this every night, hundreds of times." I said, "Yeah, you're right. I'm back. Holy shit." And he goes, "Yeah, you just killed Osama Bin Laden. Your life just changed. Get to work." Just get back to work.
Crazy, right? Imagine, Rob, I mean, this is the kind of situation that you don't know if you're going to get back home. And you have a couple kids. You told me that. You had your kids back then.
I had 3 daughters at the time.
Okay. So
and they were all young.
You had 3 daughters, all young, and you're going on a mission to, hunt Osama Bin Laden, like to invade the place there. For sure, there are people, with actual ego to explode themselves because they do this. Yeah. You didn't know if you would come back, right? Why have you put yourself in this situation?
Well, you've got to figure before we left, we had about 2 weeks and we talked about everything. We found out about the super secret helicopters. They've really never been flown. The pilots, we had the 4 best pilots in the world, but they'd only been flying these things for maybe 5 days.
It used to be a new technology then.
New technology. Okay. The president didn't even know about it until a couple weeks prior.
Not only the helicopter, other stuff also.
Other which?
Of the equipments that you used in this mission.
Well, they gave us access to everything, even stuff that wasn't approved. I'll tell you a funny story in a second, but the thoughts on the way in were, pilots have never flown these. We don't know if the technology works. It's a 90-minute flight. This is a first world country with Russian-made anti-air. We could get shot down at any moment. When we land, there will be a gunfight. The house will blow up. If anyone's going to kill himself, it's Bin Laden, and we might run out of fuel, which means now we're in Pakistan, and we need to either fight the police or end up in Pakistani prison, which we're going to die slowly. So we don't. I mean, that's the thought process going through, and we talked about it, and we told our guys at any moment, you can pull yourself off. You don't need to go. But are you fucking kidding me? Like, what did you join for? Every guy, we're going to go. Yeah. We're going. And even when I say that, I don't know if I've told this story, we had access to everything that they had. But what we were doing is we were chopping weight. We didn't, I didn't carry a pistol. Ounces equal pounds. We have poundage of fuel, so get rid of this, get rid of that. So we're keeping everything as bare minimum as we can. And this dude came in to the room we were being briefed in, and he had like this 50-pound box. 50 pounds, a lot of weight. And he said,
what?
He said, I don't know who this scientist was. They brought him out of the basement somewhere. And he said, we invented this, and it's 50 pounds, and it can jam everything, including landlines. And he goes, the radius is like a mile. And we go, okay, have you ever tested it in a helicopter? And he goes, no. Why? I'm like, because, Right. And then, so one of my friends next to me goes, I have an idea. How about you make something 25 pounds? The radius is this room, and it jams bad ideas. We're not bringing that thing with us.
What the fuck, man? Like, you want to try this in this mission with me inside the helicopter? Come on. Yeah. But I was wondering, you have a wife, 3 kids, and I don't have a wife yet, but I have a fiancée. So every time that I go, heli ski, she's like talking with me, like, you're gonna do this, take care and everything. I imagine a wife say, hey, babe, I'm gonna go kill Osama Bin Laden.
I couldn't tell him. We weren't allowed
Seriously?
to. We couldn't tell them because.
What do you tell to her? I go abroad and maybe I come back.
I have a mission. I have to go.
I have to go to work. Not even a mission because I just finished another deployment to Afghanistan in February, but now it's April and we're going to leave, and I couldn't tell any of them. And my youngest daughter, this is sad. I said I have to go to work and I'll be back in a few weeks. So she might have been 4 years old.
Okay.
She packed a little pink suitcase and she kept it by the door saying, when Dad comes home, he's taking me on vacation. And I didn't know if I'd ever see her again. And you can't tell them. You can't tell them.
How did you feel about it? Because you were going to a mission that probably you wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
What went through your mind?
We talked about it, and I even had the dude that led me up the last set of stairs. The last set, it wasn't planned that way. Sometimes life happens, and he said, "Don't take this the wrong way, because I'm going. I'm gonna go 100%. I just need to say this out loud. If we know we're gonna die, why are we going?" Which is fair.
Of course.
And we talked about it, and we said we're not going for the fame, and we're not going for the reward money. That check will get lost in the mail. We're going to go for the first people to fight Al-Qaeda to the death, toe-to-toe. And that was the passengers on United 93. Yes. We're fighting for the first responders in the South Tower that going up didn't shake hands, they hugged each other. And as other people running for their lives, they are running to their deaths. We're going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday. Yes. And then 45 minutes later, she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper, because that right now is a better alternative than whatever's going on inside. That we'll never know what 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit feels like. But she looked down and made a choice.
Whoa, that's
and
powerful.
she might have grabbed a stranger's hand, but we know that her last gesture of human decency was holding her skirt as she killed herself. They were never supposed to be in the fight. That's why I'm here. And we're going.
Cool,
That's
man.
it. And again,
Such a
too,
power.
just to simplify it, what an ending. What a way to go. Because if I'm going to die tonight, so is he. And I'll go with him. He'll go to hell, I'll go to heaven.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, that's the mindset, though. And just keep it simple. Don't worry about stuff that isn't going to affect anything. Just stay focused, master the basics. Show me, I have a sledgehammer and a gun. You show me where he is, and I'll go get him.
Like, in yourself, did you have confidence that you could get back home safe?
No.
Or no?
Not at first. But when they showed us the helicopters, it was a conversation, because we're known for having a good sense of humor. As you know, in a good working relationship, morale is good. And if you can keep your sense of humor, sometimes it's good.
Of course.
But we would joke, we would talk and start joking, but then we'd say, "All right, take it serious. This is a one-way mission, so we need to quit fucking around." But then we went out to whatever base in Nevada. And we walked around the corner and we started laughing. It's like, well, there's a better chance now, because I guess we're going to go to war on Transformers, because we'd never seen it before. And then it's like, okay, if those things, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And plus the pilots. I mean, if you deal with these Task Force 160th Army pilots, just they could fly a little bit through that door and pick us all up and take us out. They're incredible.
But
Yeah,
remind me one thing. I remember that the helicopter just crashed, right?
Well, it crash landed because the pilot told me that.
The best helicopter that ever existed until then.
They had only been flying it for 5 days. And we had been training on chain link fences. These were mud fences. And it was, I think, 2 degrees Celsius warmer than we anticipated, and that affected the lift. And he got some sort of an effect. And he told me later that an inexperienced pilot would have tried to power up. That would have flipped it and killed everybody. But he decided in less than a blink of an eye, if I can turn it, pin that tail on the 15-foot mud wall, and put the nose in the dirt simultaneously, maybe we'll live. And that's what he did, like that. Boom.
Shit.
And then they did it. We had practiced fast roping for about 2 weeks to the point where it just hurt. The only person to fast rope on that mission was the pilot, because he had to reach to get out of his thing, and he slid down our fast rope.
And what, Rob, I think I want to explore this a little bit more, because you just say that your pilot had 1 second to take a decision that could... that supposedly saved everyone's lives. Yeah. And I believe that you had been in this situation as well many times. Like, have a second to take a decision. Do I going to take this shot or not? Do I going to run to this corner or not? Yeah. That could save your troops' lives as well. So what is the process of training that you guys, the Team 6, been through to be able to take such a hard decision in a pressure ambient like this?
Because we do it 10,000 times if we want to be good. And if you want to be great, do it 100,000 times.
Okay.
Do it over muscle memory. Do everything like you do anything. And shortcuts will get you killed, and so will boredom. And that's why they picked, we were talking about merit earlier.
Yeah.
They didn't pick a certain gender of people. They picked
God,
the
right?
4 best guys, period.
Yeah.
And we didn't give a shit what they looked like.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Can you fly this? Can you save our asses in the blink of an eye when you have to? Yes.
Yeah.
And he did. Like, I didn't even know they crashed. When I went through the first gate, there were 3 dudes standing there, 2 pilots and an aircrew guy. I didn't know they crashed. There's similar uniforms, but also American flags. And as I'm going into Bin Laden's house, I look over like, who the fuck are you guys? Didn't even register. But just following my guys on very important mission. But I mean, that's what they do. And they're the true professionals, those pilots, that air crew. Think about the air crew, the crew chief on each helicopter that no one ever talks about. His job was to keep the bird flying and, most importantly, open the door when we got down.
Okay.
What if we couldn't figure out how to open the door?
Crazy,
We're just sitting there. It's his job. And if we got hit with a missile, his ass was in the seat too. His family would miss him just as much. He never gets credit. That's a hero right there.
That's true.
Yeah. We're just the assholes that can carry a sledgehammer.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I was wondering how hard it is to get in the Team 6, because as long as I know, the Team 6 is like a special area in a special force, which is the Navy SEALs, right? What is the process to become a Team 6?
It's a long process. At first, you need to be a Navy SEAL for at least 5 years, active, deploying. You need to do, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 overseas deployments. Then you need to get approved by your team to represent that team at a selection. And the first part of the selection is 3 weeks, only 3 weeks, and it's a really hard physical test, like about the length of a triathlon. Then you shower up, put on your uniform. You sit in front of a really bad job interview, like 13 people on one side, you're on this side, and they're all questioning you. But it's not just tactics anymore. Now it's your finances, your home life, how much you drink, your credit card debt, your mortgage, your wife. Someone's sitting there with your service record, making sure your ribbons match. If that board likes you, they send you to the psychiatrist for 2 weeks, and they mentally evaluate you. Everything from written tests about the most bizarre shit you're filling out with a pencil, just to get in your head, and then another really hard physical test. And that 3 weeks, if they like you, they invite you to a 9-month selection course, which is longer than SEAL training. I thought it was harder, but it's different, because now these are actual Navy SEALs who have now been vetted, going through a selection course, and these are guys that will die before they can't complete an obstacle. But now, to get them to a different level, we have to find people who can not just think, but who's willing to make decisions right now. So in the course, we took the stress of combat, but put it into a training environment.
Okay.
So it's not actual combat where bombs are blowing up, and it's a controlled training environment, but they're stressing you out. But it's safe, so it's all self-induced stress. But we're looking for the person who can realize that in life, all stress is self-induced stress. It's in your mind. So get rid of it. It's a choice. Stress is a choice.
Yes.
And so they arrange. We started off with skydiving. So about 60 jumps from as high as 25,000 feet, high altitude, high opening, which is crazy. But then the rest is all close quarters battle, or CQB, which is the SWAT team style entrance stuff. And they arrange it so these situations, there are problems that you really can't solve. And you don't know that, but they do. But they want to see how you can handle not solving a problem you can't solve anyway. And then they punish you for it. And after they're done punishing, like with tire drags or rope climbs, dehydration and stress, whatever, they put you right back in the same problem to basically, without telling you, they're saying, we just punished you for something we know you didn't screw up. Can you get over it? So the whole point of life, the whole point of this course is same in life. Get over it. You fucked up, learn. Now get over it.
Doesn't matter how bad it was for you, get over it.
Get over it. Learn from it. Like guilt, what's the point? You're not getting that time back. Learn from it. Don't do it again. Hopefully don't do it again, and move on. And guess what? If you do it again, learn again and move on. Get over it.
Amazing.
And 50% of the Navy SEALs who try out don't make it.
Really?
Because it's designed to put you in a headspace. Like I remember one day, we call it green team, green team, having the best day of my life, running through the house like, this is easy, I got it. One run later, they got me carrying a broom instead of a gun because they told me I'm too unsafe to carry a gun, which I didn't know why, but they told me. And they're trying to get in my head. I'm like, fuck it. I guess I'm doing house runs with guns. I'll do bang, bang, bang. Fine.
You was doing this with your mouth,
yes,
bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, whatever. But some guys like that stressed out, and because they try to get you with a little mistake to see if you'll dwell on that. Because you're thinking about that, then you make the big mistake, and that's where they get you. Okay. But you got to get over that shit. Just keep moving. And there were dudes that screwed up. I haven't seen him since. I went through selection in 2004. I remember a guy screwed up right next to me. I haven't seen him since. You're gone.
Shit.
Yeah. And it's just. It's not even a meal at a time. It's a step at a time. It's an evolution at a time. I'm not trying to get to Friday. I'm trying to get to lunch.
That makes sense.
That's it.
Yeah, that's interesting because I saw that you were saying that something that is important to get ready is to train a lot.
Yes.
Do the same thing
1,000 times.
1,000
Yeah.
times. So that's what you guys exactly did, because you had the same structure that the house of Bin Laden was, and you guys trained in there for a lot of time, right?
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
How many hours per day, or for how long did you train?
15 hours a day in a helicopter. And then another 5 hours talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And going over this everything over and over. And it was one night where we contingency. And one night, one of the very tired bosses said, all right, what's the worst thing that could happen? And the youngest guy in the room, who was only there because he carried the dog, he said, well, the helicopter could crash in the front yard.
Seriously.
And we're like, what the fuck, dude? Why would you say that? And he goes, I don't know. Let's talk about that for 30 seconds. And that's exactly what happened. All the other thing didn't matter, but it's because we didn't make it too complicated. It's not, it's like you don't need to worry about your back because someone else has it. And it's your first step. Don't worry about the third floor. Clear your corner. And the guy next to you is clearing his, and then we got this space, and then we'll move on from there. And it's the whole thing. Don't make things complicated. Don't talk yourself into an ass whooping. Just take it when you get it. Then your training's going to take it.
But you know what? How did you knew that the mujahideen wouldn't explode themselves in the moment after you shut the door?
We didn't. We thought they would. When I first got in the house, because they crashed, my helicopter was out here, so I was one of the last ones to come in, so I had a front row seat to watch these missions. And as I would get into rooms, I'm looking for bombs, and there's nothing. I couldn't believe it. There should be bombs here. There should be more fighters. There should be bodyguards. The police should be here. The military should be. They're just not. That's it.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because probably when this kind of operations is happening, I mean, a guy like Bin Laden, that, we're not talking just a crook, we're talking the most wanted man in the world in that moment. He didn't have any information about the mission.
No.
It's hard to believe.
Well,
this.
we didn't tell them we were coming. We didn't tell the Pakistanis that we were coming.
You didn't tell the president?
No. No.
The US president?
We had. They gave us 5 options.
I mean, CIA knew, right?
CIA knew, but very few of them knew. And one of the options, they said, one of the options was a multilateral mission. They said, we can work with the Pakistanis and we'll all go in. And everyone in the room said, well, you tell the Pakistanis he's gone now. There's no way in hell you can. And they wouldn't tell it. We didn't tell any of the battle space owners, Americans in Afghanistan when we came over. There were dudes trying to get on C-130s or ride down to Jalalabad, like generals. What's happening? Like, nothing. Don't worry about it. Not telling a soul. They kept it so compartmentalized that I didn't even know about it. I was on the CIA base January. The year before. Yeah, January. Before that, in Jalalabad, where we would launch with the Bin Laden team, and I didn't even know they were there. And I thought Bin Laden was a joke. I remember talking to people like, we're never going to find him. But they were right next to us. They didn't tell anybody. And they told us, 2 weeks out.
Shit.
They told the president in December, a couple months. This was the team. Like, we would joke with each other, like SEALs messed with Green Berets, who messed with pilots, who blah blah blah. And I would always say to the CIA, because I work with the CIA all the time, and I would say the worst thing about the CIA is they make too many movies about you, making you look cool. You're not that cool. I met the Bin Laden team. I'm like, holy shit, you are that cool. You 5 are.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know that here in Brazil we don't go to many wars. Well, we don't have even.
We go to a war every day in Rio de Janeiro, man.
Yeah.
You kill more people in Rio de Janeiro than this guy killed in the Middle West.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's terrible. But what I mean is that our army don't go to.
Do you
many
know that
wars.
we have over 40,000 assassinations in Brazil every year, right?
Yeah.
40
I know.
fucking
I know.
thousand.
I did not know that.
40.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's
We live in a
absurd.
fucking war,
That's
but
crazy.
people don't talk about it
No.
because of the fucking left.
Yeah.
But
It's
anyway,
a civil war.
yeah.
But our army don't go that much to wars, So for us, the civilians, the people here, we don't know what it looks like, because we don't talk about that much. So everything that we know about war is watching Hollywood movies or series or something like that,
Sure.
So when we see some movie about the killing of Bin Laden or other
The Darkest Hour, the movie that
the other
documented
stuff that
mission
the guys produce, what's the difference between the reality that you guys face or faced in that mission or other missions and what we see in the movies? It's really other world, or we can see some similarities or something like that.
The reality that I found, and it took me, several months in different combat zones, is that most people are just trying to get on with their lives. Most people are not combatants and they don't want war. Most people want to raise good kids and have a job. That's it.
That makes sense.
That's and I didn't have respect for the other side, but the realization, like in Ramadi in 2007, these people that live there, they don't have a choice. And if they don't cooperate with us, we shoot them or arrest them. But if they do cooperate with us, guess what? Al-Qaeda comes next.
Yes.
You cooperate, and that's worse than us arresting them.
Yes.
And they're really trapped. And some of the most welcoming people I've ever met have been in Iraq, like locals. Just like I went in the wrong house one night. I remember it was the wrong house. It was a woman and her young daughter, and they had white carpet. I drug mud across their living room, and then we realized, okay, this is the wrong house. And she was standing there. I remember looking at her, and I was like, I understand why you hate us. And I didn't say that. She didn't speak English, but then she offered me tea. Like, crazy, why would you offer me tea? But and it's like what I realized too is like it's a large planet, but it's a small world. Yes. And most people are good. It's the people in charge that suck.
That's it.
The narcissists get in charge. They send people to kill each other.
In every country, to be honest.
Every single one.
Yes, yes. But
and then they all meet at a summit.
But you know what? I'm really passionate about this subject because, as I told you, in my family, the last 4 generations, until my brother, everyone is a military and everything, and I like the subject and everything. One thing that I realized about the war that you fought, for example, is that it's really hard to win a war when the enemy is not afraid to die.
Oh yeah, they want death.
Actually, they want
that. They want to die.
So it's how do you defeat an enemy like this?
Education is the only way. In the Gaza Strip, they teach 3-year-olds at the Sesame Street age to cut the heads off of Jewish people.
Yes, I know.
You cannot raise a civilization like that.
Cannot.
You cannot. You don't. You're not born racist or you're not born hating. You're taught.
Not. You're built.
Yes, and like the madrasas on the border of Pakistan are teaching jihad, and they're teaching when you blow yourself up, you get a mansion with 72 rooms and a virgin in each.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Stop teaching them that shit.
I agree.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you're to a level where you can take a living human and cut their head off with a dull knife, you probably had bad parents.
Of course.
So an education would be the way to, again, we're seeing it in our country, in the United States too. A state-run education system sucks.
Yes.
It teaches to hate yourself, to hate your neighbors, divide and conquer.
That's it.
Up there we have African American, Asian American, Irish. No, American. That's it. Stop dividing us.
That is.
And when you, again, like I said in the war zone, when you meet people face to face, they're usually good.
Yes, I believe so. But anyway, it's a problem as well because as you told us here in the podcast, like if they cooperate with you, probably Al-Qaeda gonna go there and cut the kid head.
Yeah,
and
again, and
it actually happens, right?
Oh, yeah, it always happens.
Yeah.
But most of the evil in the world comes down to personal power. What can I do to maintain power? How do the Haqqanis work? How does the Biden family work?
Yeah.
You know, how do the Dick Cheney's family work? Power. I want power, and I don't care how I have to get it, who I have to kill, how many millions and billions of dollars can I make based on your sons?
That makes sense.
That's it.
Crazy, right?
And if we fall for it all the time, and then we reelect them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Brazil, we were a little bit worse, man. We put a crook in the jail, and then he became president. That's crazy. That's the kind of problem we have.
But see, in Washington D.C., they would call that the American dream.
But it's the same. It's the same principle, you know. In the end, here in Brazil is the same. It's a bunch of guys in power trying to divide the people.
Of course.
And
divide and conquer.
Well, a divided people, a lazy people, an unfit people, people that get free shit and are victims. Keep them just to the level where they won't rise up, and you'll keep your power. Keep them down.
How the left works.
And a lot of
all over.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everywhere. The left is the same everywhere.
It's the same everywhere. It's the same evil. Yeah. You know what? Can you tell us the story behind the Codename Geronimo that you give to Bin Laden?
We were Red Squadron, and each at SEAL Team 6, the squadrons are divided by colors: red, gold, blue, and silver.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Gold Team had the lion, the Crusader.
Okay.
Gold. Blue had the bones, the skull. The red man was the Native American.
Okay.
And then silver was a combination called the headhunter. So it was the bones, the tomahawks, and the sword.
Okay.
And so we did not name him Geronimo. That was a pro word. So a pro word means when I get to the edge of this table, I'll say Cherokee. And I don't need to say over the radio, hey, I'm at the edge of the table. I say
of course.
Cherokee. And they look at the board, Cherokee. So it was an honor of Chief Geronimo, the warrior Geronimo, meaning when we got there, Geronimo, EKIA, meaning I'm here with Bin Laden, he's dead. Code word, pro word Geronimo, in honor of Chief Geronimo. His target name was Cake Bread.
Cake bread.
Because I guess one of the women that found him loved the wine, so he was Objective Cake Bread. Really? And then we named it Operation Neptune Spear, just because Navy SEALs King Neptune, and it's Neptune possessive, Neptune's spear. It kind of rolls together. So it was in honor of King Neptune, in honor of Chief Geronimo, and fuck Cake Bread.
Cool. Dude, let me ask you something. Well, why do they call Team 6? Because it's a really team of 6 people?
No. When the SEAL teams were first commissioned in the 60s, there was SEAL Team 1 and SEAL Team 2. Okay. So the odd numbers on the West Coast, the even numbers on the East Coast.
Okay.
1, 2 in 1962. In 1980, after a botched Hostage rescue, they weren't the Air Force and the Army and the Navy weren't communicating, so they made Joint Special Operations Command, one command, with a Tier 1 unit, and Richard Marcinko called it 6 because he knew the Russians would say, okay, they're SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 2, SEAL Team 6. Where the hell are 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah,
Just
that's really
complete
good. Right?
counterintelligence, yeah.
They're really good tactics.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I read one time that during the D-Day attack, when they did the D-Day attack, they didn't have the Allied didn't have that much like machines in the field and everything. So what they did is that they, not the Allied, actually the Nazi, what they did is that they got inflated tanks and everything.
Yeah, well, we did that too. Yeah,
They used inflated.
yeah,
the
because
Allies
when
did it.
Allied is this or
Yeah,
Nazis? I don't remember.
well, we did it too.
You did it
because
too.
they didn't know where we were going to invade from England, so they would put up fake like blow them up. Like there are videos of guys pushing tanks around.
Crazy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know, a funny story too when. Because the SEAL teams were 1962 when they started, but before that we had the underwater demolition teams and the naval combat demolition units.
Okay.
So know your heritage. We would always say know your heritage, know your history. But I was a young cocky SEAL right around 1997, just finished training. And so I'm cocky as shit. I think
Yeah.
I'm tough. And we went to the SEAL reunion. They have it once a year on the East Coast, once a year on the West Coast.
Okay.
And there was this old timer, and he had one of those like trucker hats with a huge trident, says SEAL team. And me being cocky, I'm like, there's no way this guy's for real. So I went up to him and I go, hey, when did you go through Hell Week? And he said, I went in 1944. And I said, there was no Hell Week in 1944. He goes, there was on Normandy Beach on June 6th.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and goes, know your heritage. And I'm like, I'm going to buy you every beer for the rest of your life. I'm sorry.
Amazing,
So he swam
right?
into Normandy.
Can you imagine this, man? Like everyone getting shot and everything,
No.
like brains
No.
exploding
No.
your side and everything.
That was the greatest generation for a real.
Crazy.
Can you
right?
imagine if some of those purple-haired dudes with their skinny fat? You got to go like if you've ever been to Normandy, there's thousands of yards of nothing. No, it's either I'm going there or I'm going to die here. I don't have a choice.
That's it.
I don't have a choice.
Crazy.
A
right?
lot of people today wouldn't do that.
That actually mold actually a huge, maybe the best generation we ever had, right? It's that generation that actually created what U.S.
Yeah.
became
Yeah.
afterwards.
And what's crazy, too,
Joe
is-
Biden is destroying, right?
When World War II ended, say on a Friday, those guys were expected to be back in the factory on Monday. There was no post-traumatic stress disorders. Get back to work and support your family.
Yeah, but I know it's hard, right?
It's got to be hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've never heard them complain.
Crazy, right?
I mean, Bastogne, the Battle of the Bulge, fighting in Germany or right next to Germany in the winter with nothing.
Yeah. I mean, in the middle of a forest, like being bombed,
Yeah, nonstop.
so fucking cold and everything.
No.
Crazy, right?
It's one of those things too. If we were going to quit now, where the hell are we going to go? We're just here.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Let me ask you something, man. I read some time ago that 1 out of 5 make it to the Navy SEALs, right? And you just told me that 50% of the
50%
Navy
that when they
SEALs
try out.
make the Team 6, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically 10% of those who try Navy SEALs will make in the Team 6. So 1 out of 10. almost nobody, right? Do you can see any like line of, how can I put that in words? Is that anything that every Navy SEAL has in common, for example, or
whatever Navy SEAL has in common is the never quit.
This is the pattern. They never quit.
Never quit. Been crushed with the cold. They can work as a team. You learn off the bat. You don't go anywhere alone. Always have a swim buddy. And just you can do anything. You can do anything you put your mind in. Once your mind quits, your body follows.
That makes
You're
sense.
not going to get through something because your mind's going to get you through it. And it's just the mental attitude is not just, oh, this sucks, I'm going to do it. It's like, I'm tired of this broken toe. I'm tired of these shin splints. I can't believe I broke my arm, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to keep going because your mind's in it. Once you start to feel the quit, you're done. Like even when I see movies when someone's going to quit and they're just like, no, stop. And it's like, no, let him go. Quits in his head. He's out. He's done. So the never quits there. It just for some reason, there's a stress level that comes with the leadership part of SEAL Team 6. They take the most difficult part of training, which is CQB, and make it everything. And it's simply the ability to get over it. You're going to screw up. You're going to fail. You will fail. That's fine. And you will get scared. It's the difference between being scared and panicking.
Okay.
Panic is contagious and it'll get us all killed. Fear is fine because it makes you think more clearly.
Okay.
You got to control the two, and it's just selection green team for SEAL Team 6 I mean, we generally do a 10-mile run every single day, then start doing the stuff. So it's physical and the runs are fast, but no one's going to quit because of the run. But then you're tired. Can you think? And if you make a mistake, can you get over it?
Let me ask you something. Have you been in a mission with a team and then you have a guy panic in the middle of the mission?
I've seen guys I've seen guys hesitate. And it's not like it's just stuff happens so fast. Just a brief hesitation. Who knows? Maybe a tactical pause saves your life. Maybe if you turn that corner, you could have gotten hit. I've never seen anyone say I can't do it. I did see one guy get burnt out.
Okay.
But it wasn't on a mission per se. It was more a middle of a heavy combat deployment where he said, look, I just am not in it now. And that was leadership right there saying, I'm not the right guy right now for you, so we got to bring in a replacement.
Great that he said that, right?
It was big on him. We didn't know how to, because we brought it up to him, like, hey, how are you doing? And he was like, yeah, I'm not there anymore. It's because he'd done 13 combat deployments. Like, I need some time. It's like, fine, we'll find, and we found a new guy. It was great.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then his very first mission, we had to fly to Kandahar to blow up a mullah. So, welcome to Red Team. Grab a mop.
Crazy, right? When you go to these missions, like, how many guys you have with yourself?
Depends. When we jumped in for Captain Phillips, I think we had 103 people.
103.
103. I've gone on raids before where I had 5. So it all depends on what you have available. Like Captain Phillips was a special thing because that had never been done, not once. And so everyone who was, because we took off from Virginia Beach and then jumped in. So everyone who was around was like, I can go. And so they all kind of showed up. But I've been on missions. Yeah, I've known guys who've done 2-man missions before on borders, hiding. And we recognize that sometimes it's better to hide in plain sight as opposed to having 6 armored Suburbans. They'll know who that is.
Yes.
Maybe we just get a Hilux that's unarmored and we dress local. Like I'm not going to pass as an Afghan, but if I drive past you, you're not going to do a double take.
So you use a scarf and everything?
Yeah, just throw it over you and you might get by. But they're going to see you with the Suburban.
Yeah, I heard a couple of histories about like Navy SEALs in Iraq and Afghanistan, like going to hunt alone during the night. Is that right?
I don't think alone. I wouldn't recommend that.
Really?
No, I mean, maybe on a guard tower, but
Yeah.
you're hanging. I wouldn't let
Like
my
I
guys.
saw in a podcast a guy saying that he used to be a Navy SEAL and he was like, I think Afghanistan or something like this. And like he was so pissed with a situation that he passed through. I don't remember exactly the situation, but he told me that he wear a hood and everything and got a pistol and then went alone to hunt during the night and got back like in the middle of the night.
I do know guys who could pull that off, but I don't think that guy was telling the truth. Some guys came to mind. I'm like, I could see that, and he'd be back in time for breakfast. But I've never heard of a guy doing that. I don't see anyone approving that.
Yeah.
But it does. I mean, there are parts over there, like in Shkin, where it's just the Wild West. I mean, you're going to places where I've been to places in Afghanistan where guys can name their 4 brothers, but they don't know what the number 4 is.
Shit.
They don't know what time is. Like they don't know time.
Really?
No, they don't. The world doesn't make sense to them. They think that like so Kabul's the end of the world. So they don't know what an ocean is. They believe in. There was a mission where there was we could intercept, but they have cell phones. So
Crazy, right?
And they can't not use their cell phones. So we'd intercept, and I like to think outside the box. Like maybe if we adapt to what they're doing, we can. So anyway, this village in this shitty part of the Pesh River Valley was, they were talking about this dragon, and they obviously read something somewhere, because what they were saying was there's a fire-breathing dragon that he growls at night, and that's probably got to be thunder, right? And every morning, though, he spits a jewel which lights the sky, so that's the sun. And they said the only way that you can kill him is with a German-made B-52, which doesn't exist, but somebody read it somewhere. This is all folklore, and they're concerned about the dragon. They want him dead, but they also want the sun to rise. So I said, well, here's a mission we can do, and I tried to sell it to my bosses. Look, let me go into that village, and I'll tell the locals, if you show me where the Taliban is, I'll get them, I'll kill the dragon, and I guarantee you the sun comes up tomorrow. And my bosses said, well, that's stupid. I'm like, but is it? It might not be that stupid. If they believe it and I make the sun come up, maybe they'll tell us where the bad guys are.
Crazy, right?
No, it didn't work. But
Oh my gosh.
So something that you were saying that makes me think, how do you keep your mind in the right place, and how you train your mind to not fall in all those stressful situations?
Well, I mean, it's an inch at a time. It's the next meal, like I was saying earlier. That's the goals, and then the realization that you're going to fuck it up, and then just try to start over. And the mindset. I mean, the mindset of quitting or failing again. Failure's not your. It's not your. You failed, but quitting is different. You can fail, but don't quit. And it's just one thing at a time, and then quit tomorrow. Like if keep quitting tomorrow. Okay, today's a bad day, but I'll quit tomorrow.
That makes sense.
And never quit on a bad day. But then when you have a a good day, you're not going to
Slip
quit.
into the decision, right?
Yeah, I'm not quitting on a bad day.
We do the same in business, to be honest.
Yeah,
man.
but that's why it's all relatable, and it's all a team. I mean, like we're talking about your salespeople, because we have a group behind us, and then it's the salespeople that go out to do it.
Yeah.
And in the military, we did that too. Here's all the intel. Here's the people keeping the trucks running and the helicopter flying. Blah blah blah.
Yes,
The only difference is I always tell people that in my line of work, the customer is always wrong. Like I show up to his house, it's a bad day.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You know what? Many things that you're saying here, I'm connecting with my word, and I'm trying to I want to try to translate this to the audience over here, because we're talking about military tactics and everything, but at the end of the day, we're talking about decision making, not quitting, like build a better team and everything. It's have the right mindset to winning and everything, and all those things that can translate it to business. For example, you just say that when I went to the mission to kill Bin Laden, I didn't know that I would come back and everything, but I have in my mind that I'm gonna do everything that is in my control to get back. And I mean, the business is the same, right? We don't know if we're gonna have a COVID tomorrow again, or something macro gonna happen, and I mean, the country's gonna get worse in terms of economy and everything. But I know for sure, if I take care of my customers, having the best product with the right price, and especially have the best team, I am the one who's gonna win in my market, right, against my competitors and everything. And I think it's kind of the same situation when you translate it.
Yeah,
and
like he said, for example, you can fail but never quit.
Yeah.
That's our life.
That's
Well,
our life.
fail-
As an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah,
Failure is a learning tool.
Yeah, how many projects we fail every year?
yeah.
Like many.
Every
we lost
day.
millions of dollars.
How many
every year?
how many successful businessmen do you know that just nailed it right off the bat and said, well, that was easy?
I don't know any.
Fail over and over and over.
Yes.
I'm going to screw this up. I don't have any notes, but I think Michael Jordan said, in my career, I've missed more than 3,000 shots.
Yeah.
I've lost more than 200 games. 23 times I was asked to take the game-winning shot, and I missed.
Yeah.
I have failed over and over and over again,
Yes.
and that's why I succeed.
Yeah.
That's it. And again, it's not worrying about the bullshit. We've got a 90-minute flight from Jalalabad to Abbottabad, 90 minutes where we can get shot down.
Yeah.
But me worrying about a missile is not going to stop it, is it?
That's
so
it.
stop worrying about it.
That
You're
that's
wasting your energy.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I get hit, I get hit. If I don't, I don't.
Focus on
Done.
what you have control.
Yes, that's
right?
it. What do you have control of? I have control of me sitting here and not pissing my pants.
Yeah.
And guess what? If I do, so what?
I can hear Marcus Aurelius saying here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, one thing that I was trying to imagine here, what was the most dangerous situation that you have been, like closest to death that you have been? You told me in the lunch. I want you to tell to the audience because I want to try to connect with the decision making to be used in business.
That was, I have a saying that I came up with after that mission, which is don't talk yourself into an ass whipping. Don't just Roger up to get punched in the face.
Yes.
I was running a small group in Asadabad, Afghanistan, which is right off the border of Pakistan. And like right around the Konar Valley and then the Peshawar Valley, you got the Konar province, Shurik Valley, most dangerous place in the world. A couple years prior, Marcus Luttrell had been ambushed over there by the same group of guys. One of the guys' names was Zabit Jalil. He had moved to Pakistan, and there was 2 safe houses, 1 kilometer inside, 2 kilometers inside. I wanted to hit those safe houses, but they're in Pakistan. We can't do it. Then I started thinking, okay, how can we do it? Well, if I knew my rules of engagement, if I can get in contact, if I can have, we call it troops in contact, if I can have people shooting at me and keep a positive identification. So troops in contact, PID, I can pursue.
Yes.
10 kilometers inside, so I can hit those houses. So my plan, which sounds great here as we're planning, was we're going to go to the border. We're going to let them see us. Once we are engaged, then we're going to assault.
Okay.
So that was the plan. And it took us a couple days to get in place, but we're on top of the mountain, and we can sort of see some dudes on the other side. I was with a few Afghans, and part of the plan also was to wear tiger stripe desert, which Americans don't wear, so they wouldn't know we're Americans, which means there's no helicopters or whatever.
Yeah.
So they saw us, and we actually sent some of our guys down there to talk to them, and they came back. I'm like, cool, you didn't tell them they're Americans? They said, no. They asked us if we wanted, whatever. And then all of a sudden, trucks start showing up, and they're full of fighters.
Okay.
And another truck, and then another truck, and another truck. And now,
like hundreds.
Yeah, oh yeah. And they're all, and like, okay, they're here. We have the high ground, but there's not a lot of us. If we go now that way, maybe we can get out of here and call a helicopter on that flat right here. Let's go. So we just basically hauled ass. We start running down the hill. We get to a spot where I can call a helicopter, and there was an Afghan with me who didn't speak any English, but right now he yelled, the only thing I ever heard him yell this is the first thing I heard him yell in English. He pointed up and said, "Bad guys, bad guys." And that's when they just started firing on us. And one of the scariest things I've ever seen is how fast those dudes can run in these mountains. They're wearing like these brown pajamas. I'm pretty sure they're in sandals, but man, they're hauling ass. And so we're in this almost like a 3-sided bowl, and they surround us, and we're taking fire where you got to lay down, try to get low. And there's no worse feeling than they're shooting 7.62, so AK-47s, PKMs, and we're shooting 5.56, and I don't think I can reach them. There's no worse feeling than taking effective fire and not being able to shoot back.
Yes.
So now we got to figure something out. So when we came down here, my radio guy was about 100 meters away, and we were wearing our gear in 3 different lines: first line, second line, third line.
Okay.
First line gear is your most important stuff, closest to your body.
Yes.
It's on your belt, in your pockets. It's your knife and like your tobacco. Second line gear is going to be bullets, grenades, water. Third line is your least important shit: foot powder, sleeping bag, ground pad. And I'd had Vietnam guys tell me, I'd never heard of anyone doing it, but they said in Vietnam, if you need to start ditching stuff to run faster, you get rid of your third line first, and you can run second line next, and now you just got your first line. And even in that, then you keep 1 bullet for yourself because you're not getting captured by these guys.
That makes sense.
So I ditched my third line. I'm running to my guy as they're shooting, and they're slowly moving down the mountain. I get over to him. I'm explaining to him what we're seeing, and I said, I called it a flash checkpoint. I said, up top is their leadership. Hit that with whatever we got. And he goes, we don't have any air support. I'm like, we'll get some. Get on there. So we're laying there, and they're getting closer, and they'd set their RPGs to air bursts. So rocket grenades are going over us and exploding. And then like looking down and seeing if your legs are still there, we're fine. That dude that yelled bad guys, he tried to take some high ground, and he got hit with an RPG right behind him. I remember it blew his hat off. He fell down the hill. And I'm like, we just lost our first guy. This is serious. And the weirdest things happen in war. He was unhurt. He got hit with an RPG unhurt. He sit up and he's like dusting, his bell was wrong. He's dusting himself off. He looked at me and he goes, his second thing he ever said in English, he goes, "Okay, USA." Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
So then the bullets were like zip, 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 but the zings were the scariest. That's a ricochet. Zip, zip, zing. And then there was a dude just right off to my 11 o'clock. And he's getting closer, and he's concerning me because he's shooting a bell-fed machine gun.
Okay.
And he looks like me. He's red hair, white dude, red beard, but he's screaming Allahu Akbar in Arabic, and I'm thinking he's a Chechen. And if you run into a Chechen anywhere, on a mountain, in the octagon, it's a bad day. He's a tough dude. So this is it's like one of two ways. We're gonna win or we're gonna die. And here's a guy you don't surrender to.
Yeah.
You just put one in your own head. You don't want to get skinned alive by this dude. Yeah. But as I'm thinking about whatever, these two tracers flew in between. My gun was here. They flew in between my my hand and my face.
Fuck.
And so the tracers, there's 5 real bullets in between. Yes. Just like this. And then the humanity comes into it. I start thinking about my kids. Shit. Then it's like, and I'm trying to get as low as this coffee cup behind this, and I like.
You're getting cover behind a rock or something?
I got nothing. I'm trying to get as low as I can.
Shit.
And I'm thinking, what does it hurt to get shot in the face? Do you go to heaven right away? What happens when you like?
You was like thinking about it in a gunfight.
And it's like I got nothing now. I'm gonna get hit. And all of a sudden, my guy goes, "I got one. I got a jet." And I'm like, "Awesome! Hit that checkpoint." And he said, "I can't. The radios in my battery just died."
Fuck.
And I said, and I don't like to. I think micromanagement is a bad skill.
Of course.
But I thought now would be a proper time to micromanage. I said, "Change the fucking batteries." And he said, "I'm not carrying the batteries. You are."
Oh shit.
I'm like, "Oh man, they're in the."
You left your backpack over there?
So now I got to get up on something along the lines of, don't tell mom I did this, and I have to run over. He's still shooting, and the sun is up. Like, I'm not hiding. Shit. And I'm not fast. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me. I'm not a fast guy. So I'm running over there. He's yelling, God is great. At this point, I'm like, I get it. God is great. Fine. I get over to my backpack. I pull it open. Of course, they're in the bottom. I pull those out. Yeah. I can't believe I haven't been hit. The backpack had been hit. I'm running over to him, and I chuck him to him, and he changes them out. We get on the radio, and Dude 12 was the call sign. He's an F-15.
Okay.
And he's flying upside down because we have to talk him in because we don't want to give him coordinates because if he's nervous too or something.
Of course.
And so we're trying but to calm us down, the first thing he said was, because when you're calling in air support, it's technical. You got to get your shit right. He just goes, just talk to me like I'm a man. And my response was, I see why women find you attractive. And then we kind of talked him in by the snow's up here, the intersects the river and the road. That's 1, 2, use half a unit measure this way, 097, and then he flies back over. And then he comes straight at us, and as you're looking back at the jet, you have 2 choices. Because he says tally target, you're like, you say cleared hot or abort. Mm-hmm. And if you think he's going to drop on you, you say abort. And then we're going to die, so I need him. So I said cleared hot. And the guy next to me goes, well, what if he drops on us? I'm like, no problem, just plug your ears.
Yeah, just plug your ears.
And then it sounded like bacon, zzz, boom. And
sound like bacon?
It sounded like sizzling bacon overhead. It was so close. Woof. And then the whole mountain stopped firing as if to say, oh, shit, these are Americans. Mm-hmm. And even the dude stood up, so I blasted him. I yelled something about God back at him.
Yeah.
And then they start running up the hill, and we started saying, repeat, repeat. We had a B1 bomber showed up from 60,000 feet. He's dropping. I was watching dudes on fire. I saw dudes that, like, it's crazy to think about. It's not like a video game. I saw dudes and then they were just gone, like just vanished, like they never existed.
Really?
And so we ended up bombing Pakistan for about 3.5 hours.
Fuck, man.
Then it's over.
You caused like an international incident.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Well, they finally got the helicopters into us, and I sat on the right-hand side. Everyone got in. No one's hurt. The one dude is missing his hat, the Afghan. And later he had to send. He didn't speak English, so he sent an interpreter saying, "Can you get me a new hat?" But as we're flying out, I'm looking at this scorched earth. I hadn't, because I've been hiding behind a rock the whole time.
Yeah.
And now it's like on fire. I'm like, holy shit, we just bombed Pakistan, and that's an international incident.
Shit.
And then it starts to sink in. I'm in charge. Probably going to hear about this, and I was right.
Yeah.
We get back to Asadabad, and there's a general there, and he said, you know, we're not at war with Pakistan, right? And I was so jovial. I was like, yeah, man, but we were today, and you should have fucking seen that. And then it was literally, well, you're going to go to Leavenworth for prison, or you'll get an award, so we'll find out. And that was a long 3 weeks to wait for that.
I can't imagine.
We had some footage, and they ambushed us. We did kill 11 Pakistani soldiers, but 100 Al-Qaeda and foreign fighters.
That's delicious.
I mean, see, that shows to tell you, too, the real heroes are the pilots. That's the Air Force doing that. I didn't do that.
Yeah,
and those are the unsung heroes.
But I mean, you called them, right?
Yeah, but I also started it.
how long does that took till you start the gunfight and the B-12, the B-2 came to bomb?
5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah.
So you stood 5 hours in a gunfight.
I laid there getting shot at for about an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the gunfights I'd been in before, to me, 30 seconds is a long gunfight.
But what was the distance between you and the bad guys? Like 10 clicks?
No, probably 30 meters between one of them. And
30 minutes? 1.5 hours? They didn't storm to you guys?
No, they surrounded us, and then they started, like, they were doing bound and maneuver. So they were trained. Because one group was shooting, the other ones stop and shoot. Then they run. And then they start shooting. They bound and maneuver.
And you guys were in the top of the mountain, like getting cover?
At first we were, then we ran down.
Then we ran down, in the flat.
I thought we can get out. And that's my second bad decision.
Okay.
I thought we could just leave, but then we had a fight. I mean, but if we would have stayed on top, who knows what would have happened?
Of course.
Because they could have surrounded us and then taken us like this, too. We wouldn't run out of ammo.
Let me explore a little bit more in this situation, because I think we can translate it to business. Okay. Like, you had this tough situation where there are no easy answers at all. There are no any training that you can apply in these kind of situations, because it's such a surprise. You didn't know that you would, met hundreds of bad guys in that kind of situations. And I mean, you knew what to do, which is go for air support. But when we go to a radio guy, he has no battery, and you had to take a decision of risking your life and run back to your backpack, get the battery, and get back. What is the process to make this decision? Because, like, when you tell me right now, it's a hero history, but it's such a bad decision, right? Leave your gun and run back to your backpack.
Yeah,
Why you? Why not another one?
Trying to lose weight. I was in charge, and I gotta do it. And but then it was an easy choice because I didn't have a choice.
Yes.
It was, again, we're gonna win or we're gonna die.
Yes.
What do you want to do? You want to lay here and die, or do you want to win?
But I mean, this decision that you made before, which is let me left the high ground and go to the flat because I'm gonna run. What is the process of doing this?
They might not see us, and we can get a helicopter here in 15 minutes.
15.
If
and it took like 1.5 hours.
Yeah, but they didn't. Once they started shooting, the helicopters weren't going to come.
Yeah.
So then we had to wait for jets, which we didn't have.
Okay.
And what's funny is a lot of my squadron was in different parts of Afghanistan. They were listening to this whole thing go down, and they couldn't help. That's helpless. Like, at least it's like watching a horror movie. Like, don't go in the basement. But if you're actually in the horror movie, you can make the decision. So they're listening to me, and they're helpless. Fuck. But I can make the bad. Well, I already made 3 bad decisions to get us here. Shit. I might as well make a 4th and see if there is a heaven.
Did you lost anybody in this day?
I never had. Well, I've been lucky because in my team, I never had a guy get hurt.
Seriously?
Not one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you have been like the most terrible situations in your whole career and never lost anybody.
Well, I think I lost a lot of friends, different places.
I know. But not in your team.
No, because
why that?
we followed our rules.
What are the rules?
The rules are the safest, most efficient way to get from here to there. And don't take a shortcut. And complacency kills. And complacency is caused by success. Because success lulls you into, well, this is the way we've always done it. It's like, fuck that. We're winning by 20. Why aren't we winning by 30? But always follow your rules. If you come up with a more efficient way to get from here to there, tell me, and then I'll tell everybody else, and then we'll make new rules, but then we always follow the rules.
Okay.
One big problem in combat was not, like I said, not everyone's a bad guy. Not every target, there are bad guys.
Yes.
And if you go to 10 targets in a row and there's no bad guys, that 11th one, like, you know what, let's just go right there. We'll skip all the other shit and we'll come home early. That's when you run into the bad guys. And that's my other saying is don't die because you got bored. I remember a mission, obviously one of our rules is you don't follow a bomb maker over a bridge. Like when he goes over, you don't follow him. He probably rigged the bridge.
That makes sense.
We were tracking their phones. This bomb maker popped up. This is Baghdad in the middle of the day. He's in a house. Okay, cool. Get in the cars. We're leaving. So we drove right to it. The phone turned off. We go clear the house. He's not in there. Phone turns on. 3 blocks away. Fuck the cars. We're running. We ran to that. Phone turns off. We clear it. Not in there. Phone turns on. Now we're running. It's 110 degrees there.
Okay.
We're sweating. We're pissed. We hate this guy. Phone off. Phone on. Now the phone turned on and stayed on. And we have the vehicles now, but it's over a bridge and it stayed on. We're driving to it. And we're about to go over and we're like, no, abort. We're done. Mission's over. We're going back because we're not going over the bridge.
Yeah.
Every guy in my truck starts yelling at me and my boss, like, you pussies. We came here to, you don't want to go to war. Why did they send you? Blah, blah, blah. He's right there, but we're not going because you're afraid, whatever. We're turning around. We go back to base. Everyone cool off. 2 days later, I ran into my guys in the gym and they were fine now. I said, hey, that dude we were chasing 2 days ago, what was his name? And they're like, I don't know. I don't care. I'm like, yeah. What are your kids' names?
Fuck. That
Don't
makes
die
sense.
because you got bored. You want to see your kids, don't fucking go over the bridge. That's a rule. Follow it.
Powerful, man. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
But in the moment, that's why you don't want to make decisions based on emotion.
That makes totally sense. And I can totally translate it to
Well,
a
like
life.
this one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to write that mean text or that shitty email. Don't hit send for 24 hours.
Yeah.
If it still bothers you, hit send.
That makes sense.
It's something that's interesting is because when we are trying to do our daily stuff, sometimes we wanna go and don't follow some rules, break
Yes.
some rules and
No,
to
sometimes
try
you
to-
take more risks than you should.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, being an entrepreneur is about to take risks, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, but you gotta take controlled risks.
My
It's like being Comet, right?
Yeah.
Don't follow the fucking guy in the bridge because he can blow up the bridge.
he's sucking you in.
Don't. I mean, let's say that you are in debt and you have like one time EBITDA in debt, and we know that you're not supposed to be more than 2-3 times EBITDA in debt. Like you already in 2 times, you're gonna go to 3 times. Yeah, you can come out of this in life, but you can destroy your company and the life of your fucking family.
Exactly. So
Like
that's
be responsible, right?
That's the
Don't
kind
die because you get bored.
Yeah,
it's the same
It's how
thing.
simple is that?
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
die
That's
because you
the
got bored.
kind. Yeah, that's the kind of rules I'm talking about
Yeah.
because you know that you don't supposed to do some things,
Yeah.
and when you do that, you die.
You might get away with it.
Yeah.
My wife works in the power line industry. She is in charge of a bunch of the guys that get up on the power lines, and I tell them the same thing. Always follow your rules. Your boss doesn't have you up there for 10 hours a day because he wants you. It's the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
And the example I give is, say you're up on the pole with the power, and you need to do a quarter turn, but you forgot your safety gloves, and they're way down there. It's going to take me 15 minutes to get down there, 20 minutes to get back up, but I'm right here, quarter turn, and that's when you're going to get zapped. And it's like, whenever you're on the job site and there's a fatality, that big sign out front says, 400 incident-free days. Yeah, well, not today, because you fucking got
Yeah. You know what? There is one simple rule in leadership for companies, and I have been doing this in the last decade, and I have been well succeeded in my business because of this. Don't hire woke people.
There you go.
They're gonna fucking sue you. They're not gonna work. They're gonna always
exactly
complain. If you hire woke people, you're putting yourself in a risk situation because you don't know if they're gonna work. You're living in a country that anybody can sue anybody, and usually the ones who are wrong are the ones who win. So you're gonna hire woke people for what?
Yeah.
Because of this fucking DUI? Have you ever met a company that follows the DUI rules that make money? I don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
No,
right?
if I see pronouns on a resume, it goes in the trash.
Of course. I don't even interview.
I don't even see your blue
My
hair.
companies, they don't come, man. That's why the media hates me.
I've been there.
Let me ask you something, man. What lessons from your time from the Team 6 that you think you can inspire leadership in the matter of building high-performance teams?
Be good to your people, number one. My
Yes.
favorite rule, I always bring up my rules. They're always very simple. My favorite rule is nobody wants to work for a dick. That simple.
That makes sense.
Keep it simple. Master the basics. Do it 1,000 times. Do it 10,000 times. 100,000 times. You want to be great. Something I learned from some of my bosses in the military that they don't need to do this is occasionally they would say please and thank you, just to make you feel like you're part of the unit. I was fortunate to go to work with people every day that I thought were better than me. And I think other people felt the same way. But if someone was better, as opposed to trying to undermine them, find out what their habits are. If someone was out shooting me in the kill house, I would ask him, what do you eat for breakfast and what kind of workout do you do in the morning? Do you go to the range first or do you go do CrossFit?
That makes sense.
Do you roll jiu-jitsu? When do you do this? And why did you move that piece of kit from here to there? Ask questions,
Learn from them.
Instead of being jealous, I want to, and it's not like I need to take your job. I just want to be as good as you.
Yes. That's how winners
Yeah,
think.
yeah. And I mean, even adapting to, like, there was a tactic we came up with called Angleman Corner Boy. It's very, very simple. And there's most rooms in a kill house. The walls are interchangeable. You can move everything, the doors. We have one room on the 3rd floor that's an L hallway. Goes this way and that way.
Yes.
And it doesn't change. Doesn't change for a reason. We're going to practice Angleman Corner Boy. And all that is,
That makes
one
sense.
guy steps out. He's the man. That's the boy. The man makes a decision. The boy looks at the man. And so the angle man's job is I'm going to keep pieing this. Now I'm either going to take it or I'm going to wave.
Yes.
And that's very important because if I wave and you go, then I see a bad guy could shoot you in the back of the head.
Yes.
So the wave is dangerous, and that's what we came up with this. Okay, instead of waving, if I'm looking, I'm just going to drop my gun. There, I can't shoot you. Then you're going to go. Simple. We didn't do that right one time.
Seriously.
Didn't do it right one time because there's so much moving, and
and you get confused.
And we try to make it simpler and simpler and simpler, so that the easier you can make it, the simpler it can be. You should be able to do it. But guess what? If you can't, just try it again.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the same for
I'd
processes.
love to say we mastered it. In combat, we might have done it right, but
Yeah.
like one fucking hallway.
You know what? It's the same with process. Every time that I see companies with this much processes and everything, all complex process and softwares and everything, I mean, when I go to these companies' boards and everything, the thing that I usually do is run an X-ray of the company and say, yeah, let me see the most important process you guys have here, the software that you use. Usually, I don't know, 30%, 40% of them are trash. They don't even use it.
Run lean.
Yeah, as
Seriously,
lean, as simple as you can, right?
And you know what else too? I'm a big believer in your people need to know what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah, that
you
makes
don't want
sense.
to compartmentalize it, but also with communication, when you're done saying what you're saying, stop saying it. Get to the point. If you make a sale and they say yes, stop selling it.
Yeah.
It's over. Done. Don't talk yourself into an ass whipping. That's it.
That makes sense. And let me ask you something, Rob. Let's say that you have a high performance member in your team, and these guys, specifically this guy used to be like your number one in your team, a star and everything, but he crashed. He's not delivering anymore. What do you do in this kind of situation? You try to, get him back. You talk to him. You try to relocate him to another job. What is this? The rule for
your life
Team
depends
6?
on his health or in his ability to.
So
to
what
do,
do we do
to,
with
to do the job?
Previous high performance guy that is not delivering anymore?
Well, I try to find out what's going on at home. What's going on in your personal life? Because if you're a high performer, you've been a high performer, but now you're not. What's going on? And I don't.
Let's say that he's depressing, for example. I don't know. I'm feeling depressed.
It'd be everything to. I'd say talk to him about it. Time off. Are you burning at both ends too hard? Mental health. Because again, if he's proven he's a performer, he's a performer. But something. The job's not the problem anymore. Something's going on. I'd say get to the bottom of that too. Like we were talking today about. I'm not necessarily saying the high-end therapy, but a lot of us did psychedelics.
Yes.
Just to get your mind right. Is he working out? Is he getting in the gym every day? Does he go outside enough? Shit like that. Because it's obviously not the job.
Yes.
And if it's too much, give him a break.
But of course you insist on this guy. You don't just throw him out on another job.
No. I mean, if he wants to leave, let him leave.
Okay.
But I'd literally give him some time.
That's another question. Like if a person come to you and say, "Hey, I don't think that I'm ready to be to keep myself in Team 6 anymore. I think I'm gonna get back to US and everything."
We've had that, and you let him go.
You just let him go. You don't ask him to stay and offer him another post and everything.
You can offer him. Do you want to come back? Do you want to stay eventually? But do you want to go now? You can leave. You don't need to ban him or kick him off the list or whatever. But.
Yeah, because as a business leader, we face this situation like all the time. High performance that we like the guys, but he say, it's too much pressure. I don't know if I can make it anymore. I'm thinking about to go out. So in this situation, what do you advise me? Like try to get this guy here or maybe let him go?
I mean, I think like offsites are a good idea. Retreats type stuff, morale, little things, fellowship. We have Friday beer day or some shit like that. I don't know. Something to keep morale. Because if morale goes, morale is like your brain. If it goes, your team goes. Yes. If your brain goes, your body goes.
Yes.
I don't think it's not a broad brush stroke. I think you can compartmentalize and individualize most stuff like that. But if a high performer like that that's starting to slip, just give him some time off.
Yes.
If he wants it.
No, that makes sense.
Make him do more push-ups.
Yeah, we do this. Yeah, to be honest. Guys, this is Mr. Robert O'Neill. O Robert O'Neill, então, é esse Team 6 que vocês viram. O cara é brabo pra cacete. Passou algumas grandes lições de liderança pra gente aqui. Eu espero que vocês tenham gostado. Rob, was really nice to talk to you, man. I learned a lot.
I had a great time talking to you guys. Thank you so much.
Semper Fi, sir.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Appreciate it.
Guardo vocês. Até o próximo Vox Luminis. Valeu, galera.
Pessoal.
Thank you.